Hi everybody, thank you very much for joining us today. I'm Emily Craven, the digital producer here at the Queensland Writers Centre, and today I'm talking to the lovely Fleur McDonald. Now, Fleur lives on an 8,000 acre farm in WA, and in 2009 Red Dust was the highest selling novel for a debut author, and in 2010 was shortlisted for the Australian Book Industry Awards in the Newcomer category. And Fleur's going to be doing a fantastic workshop on love and landscape, so I suppose writing rural romances, you could call them. So thanks for joining us, Fleur.
Thanks for having me, Emily. Lovely to Skype with you.
and thank you very much for offering to give people a couple of tips on writing really authentic landscapes and you know, with a little bit of romance added into the mix there. So I suppose to get started, what do you need to write an authentic scene?
Well, I think you need quite a few layers. It's not just, you know, throwing some words down the paper. So for me, a scene is starting with the setting. So say I'm going to use a shearing shed, I'll start with the setting and I'll get inside that shearing shed in my head and I'll hear the noises and I'll hear the small things, because I believe that small things really make a scene authentic. So, and then once I've done that and I've got that better down in my head, then, you know, we'll throw in the people and the dialogue and the descriptions of the shearing shed. So there's about 4 layers that make up a scene. I'm going to be talking a lot about that on next Sunday.
Yeah, that's really exciting. So it's on the 11th of August for anybody who's playing at home. Would I be able to get you to perhaps tell us, you were talking about the small things, so what are things that people can do when they're trying to get into that zone of adding the small things in to make things authentic? What are some exercises they could try?
Okay, well, main thing I do is, because I live it all the time, it's really easy for me to get out of the sheep yards, come back and sit at home at my desk and go, okay, I'm going to write a scene about sheep yards. I've just been there, or I've done it a lot over my farming career. So I just sit down and I shut my eyes and I think about what's going on in the shearing shed or in the sheep yards at the time. So what are the noises? What are the smells? What are the feelings? What do the sheep do? And if I can see all of that in my head, it comes out on the paper really descriptively. And is that a word? And it just makes it real. If a page or a scene, if a scene lifts off the page, it makes the reader get inside that scene. So that's what I try to do when I'm writing.
And I suppose in books that are set in remote places, the setting is very important.
Well, I think it is, and it's just an opportunity to a sense of place in any book is important, but I think it's a really great opportunity for people that are sitting at home in a town or in their lounge room in a city somewhere. They don't get to experience it very much. So if I can bring it alive for them and I can teach other people to bring it alive for the readers, then I'm actually doing my job that I set out to do, which was bring the country alive to people and make people understand the country a little more.
When I was sort of explaining to people before that you write, I suppose, what people call a rural romance, it's not a rural romance in the fact that it's, you know, Mills and Boon set in the outback, is it? What differentiates something as being like a rural romance in comparison to just a romance or just, say, a literary work?
Yeah, look, I really think the books that people like myself, Nicole Alexander, Rachel Treasure, those sorts of people write are actually stories from the land, and there is a real romantic link to the land itself. So there is always relationships within our books because that's a part of life, but we focus on the stories from the land and not educating, but definitely making people aware of how fantastic our great nation is, and bringing the outback into people's lounge rooms. So it's the romance for me is actually with the land itself. and the stories that the land, the ancientness of the land holds, because we've got such an amazing history. So that's where I sit. There's lots of really great other rural authors around the place that focus a lot more on romance within their books with a country setting.
If we condense that, it's a combination of a love of home and a love of place, as well as a love with the people around you.
Absolutely, yeah. And there's also it doesn't the romance itself doesn't actually have to be just with a bloke. Well, the love doesn't have to just be with a bloke. Like, the love can actually be the sense of family around you, not obviously romantic, but the love around you, and the family connections that you have all the way through.
So it's sounds very emotional and fantastic. Thank you so much for taking the time out, and it sounds like a wonderful workshop.
Thanks very much for having me, Emily. I'm looking forward to seeing some people there. I'm very excited to come into Brisbane. I haven't been there before, so I'm very excited.